Welcome everyone to today's live cast. Usually during our live casts, we talk to guests and talk about specific things that we want to see happen in the community of our practices. Today, we're actually going to be taking a look at one of our products. So, as you know, as many of you know, aside from our books and things like that, we have products across platforms. We have our platform as a service, which is Vericle. We have FBN Shop, which is our e-commerce platform. We have our upcoming iOS application as well. And so today we're going to be talking about Vericle specifically, which is our platform as a service. So Vericle has been customized for a number of different specialties. Our most famous one, of course, is Genesis Chiropractic Software, which is our chiropractic arm. But one of the cool things that we're doing, we have a number of clients that are now utilizing platform as a service, including Lifetime Chiro Solutions, Physician Business Solutions, a number of organizations that truly benefit from what we do. And so today we want to take a look at one aspect of this, which is workflow. And so when we take a look at workflow, we first need to understand what problem we're trying to solve. And really, the big issue for practice owners today is in managing day-to-day activity via reports. One of the biggest things that comes up all the time is, do you have a report for this? Do you have a report for that? Because every day I need to make sure I do X, Y, and Z. I need to make sure I followed up on every new patient. I need to make sure that I made sure that each patient got a packet that they needed to fill out. I need to make sure each day that all the visits are billed out. I need to make sure all of these things. So I need a daily summary report. I need a daily new patient report. I need all these reports so that I can look at them and make sure that I did all the things I need to do. And there's a problem, obviously, with that, because when you use a report to actually figure out what work you need to do, first of all, it doesn't tell you what work you need to do. You need to investigate that report, so that kills time that you could be spending with your patients. The other problem, of course, is that it kills time for everyone else as well, because your work needs to be double checked. And of course, there's no way to double check it because reports are not actionable. And even when they are actionable, they're generally not live. And so there's no way to adequately say, here is a reflection of what my backlog was of the work I need to do. And here's what it is today. I've done all the work I need to do. And that's really, when we look at this problem, we also need to figure out what are we trying to fix? What are we actually trying to do that people are trying to use reports for it? And really what we're trying to do is understand what work needs to get done around the office, across departments, and make sure it gets done. And if there are any issues, that those issues are escalated. And then, of course, double check all of that, actually confirm that each item was done correctly. And of course, that's going to go from your front office to your inventory, to your back office, to your clinicians as well. And that's going to be across specialty. So really the power of what we call workflow is that, number one, we make all of that possible without using reports. And so really reports, we don't want to get rid of them. They're useful, but they become really what they were meant to be, which is a review tool, a way, at the end of the week or the end of the month, the end of the quarter, the end of the year, to see how things are progressing, to make sure that you don't need to make a change in strategy. And that's really the big thing here, is talking about strategy when we talk about reports. Reports should be giving you a glimpse into patterns so that you can identify, okay, I need to make this change to how we're approaching things, to what we're doing each day to make a better change. And so when we're dealing with day-to-day activities, we want to isolate those into tasks. And the nice thing about that is, if we're able to say that everything is defined as a thing to do, as a task, that means that they all have a common denominator. They all have a common value. And so I don't need to have multiple places for each different thing. In other words, I don't need to have a list of tasks for my new patients, a list of tasks for my my inventory, and my list of tasks for all that other stuff that I need to do. Really, all I need is a list of tasks across everything that's automatically separated by department and by individual. So I might have an individual responsible for my inventory, and an individual or individuals responsible for following up on new patients. All that work really should be set up in such a way that that it can be in one place, but separated so that it's not obviously drowning anybody. It's not all there at the same time. So we're going to take a look at what that actually looks like. And that task bench is actually really nice because it's a complete view of all the tasks relevant to the person looking at it. So if I'm in the front office, I'm Joe Blue, and I'm a front office person, and I'm responsible for day one phone calls, making sure that patients are billed, inventory. So that means that whenever the system recognizes a need, so it's looking through the reports and it's saying, I have a new patient. And when there's a new patient for my practice, there is a list of 5 things that need to get done. And so what I'm going to do as the system now, I'm going to automatically open those 5 tasks and I'm going to assign them to Joe Blue. And those 5 tasks are going to have the specific issue that needs to be resolved. Generally, it's going to tell you how to resolve it. And it's going to hold you accountable to someone. So generally, you're going to have yourself be held accountable to, let's say, an office manager or the owner or a billing person. Whoever you're going to be held responsible to, that person's going to be the one double checking your work. And so it makes it really easy to look at a task, for example, like point of sale. Here I'm talking about biofreeze. Turns out that we're below threshold, right? And it'll tell you how many are left. So I'll say ordered, actually, let's say I actually stocked them. So stocked 50. I'm going to go ahead and append it. What happens when I append a task is that it actually will go away from the screen. And what that'll do is it'll actually put it on the person who's responsible for double checking my work. The nice thing here is because I made the same person in both roles, we can look at what that looks like. And so we're looking at a change in color, of course, and status, which allows us to differentiate between work we need to double check for others and our own work to do. So one of the really cool things here, of course, is, again, we're still in one place. We're not having to jump around the system to figure out where things are, to run reports, to go through dozens and dozens of parts of any systems. And all of this becomes customizable depending on your or customized depending on your needs. So, if you're working in a specific subsect of chiropractic, or you're working in cardiology, or you're working in nephrology, or you're working in pediatrics or podiatry or psychiatry, whatever your specialty is, all of these tasks become customized and automated so that everybody in the office, whenever something happens and it's triggered by a check-in of a patient, by a documenting of a visit, by a choosing of a code, it generates a task and opens it to the right person so that they know exactly what to do without having to lose face time with the patient and without having to check reports and be confused as to what's going on. So this becomes the core or the heart of Vericle, of that platform, because it allows us to really break the barrier of report management, report daily management, and give practices and organizations the power that they need to give practices the tools that they need. And at the higher level, as an organization, again, organizations will customize their tasks at their level as well. So that, for example, if a practice in their organization is struggling and their collections drop a certain amount, or their visits drop a certain amount, or any of the metrics drop a certain amount, a task can be triggered to, let's say, a coach in your organization to reach out to that practice and find out what's going on and see how you can help. So this becomes a really powerful way to help practices, solve a lot of problems, and organizations solve a lot of hugely complex problems, again, by managing one area. And so as we go through here, you'll notice that we also have a way to centrally manage everybody's workload. So we can see here, for example, that what we're looking at is a list of everybody in the office. Everybody, let's say, at the higher level, let's talk about an organization. So an organization might have a set of coaches and management. And so we're going to look at everybody in my organization, XYZ group. And those people are responsible for working with the practices that are clients. And so now we're looking at how many tasks they have to take care of across the practices that they're working with. How many of those tasks are overdue? In other words, are they overworked and they're not able to get to tasks that they're responsible for in time? And what's their total backlog like? In other words, if they're working on things and let's say that this, they're trying to investigate something for a practice they're working with, finding out why their billing is taking longer to be collected than usual, that might take a few days. And so they'll take an action today and then they'll say, all right, I'm going to look at this again tomorrow. So they'll push that task out to the next day to review again. And so it won't be on their active bench, but it'll be in their total backlog. And so you'll see a difference between those numbers. And this is really nice because as the head of an organization, I can look at everybody's backlog. And if I see that I've got two people here with competing numbers, so if I've got this person called unassigned and this person BPR demo 3, with such difference in their total active tasks. So one person right now has to do 18 things and one person only has one thing to do. This is a great opportunity for me to go to this unassigned person and say, hey, you've got 18 things to do. And obviously you're overwhelmed. Why don't I take 8 of those things and give them to your colleague here? That way it's a little bit more even in terms of distribution here of workload. And that way the client gets the best possible service. The practice gets the best possible service. So this becomes a really great way to isolate workload and proactively help staff without having to look at things in the rearview mirror and be concerned and complain about efficacy and whether people are working hard enough. So this becomes really the backbone of the platform as a service. And and as you go through here, this is the first thing that we highlight with organizations because it's the one thing that without it, you really can't run an effective organization and scale it, because you're going to be constantly wearing so many different hats. You're going to constantly be chasing after things. Whereas here, we can automate all of that and allow you to focus on growing the organization and proactively preventing issues from a practice's inception to their retirement or selling of their business. So regardless of the stage of business that you're in, this technology allows you to do that. Of course, it couples everything from scheduling to the day-to-day operations, documentation and billing that a practice needs. And of course, the integration of, really cool tools for mobile and all that and e-commerce. But that really is the standard now in what a practice really demands. And so, we constantly look at the specific demands of organizations and figure out how what we're doing is going to, help them. And all of the things that we do are based on those requests, right? So the practices make requests for new things. Those requests will then be discussed with the organization and prioritized based on what's going to have the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time, and then timelines so that you know exactly when those things that you're looking for are added. So it's actually a really cool way to not only centrally manage things, give practices and organizations the tools that they need, but in addition, create a social atmosphere for practice owners and organizations to actually guide the development of products. So, each week we're talking about specific issues here. If you're not a member of our groups, you're not following us on Facebook right now. We've got just over 3,000 followers that see what we talk about. We post multiple times a week videos on these topics, and of course we're all published. So we have 3 books published on these topics. So if you haven't checked them out, Medical Billing, Practicing Profitability, Treat or Be Treated is the newest one. And of course, we have a new book in the works right now that'll be available Q1 in 2016. So keep a lookout for that. And of course, next week we'll be back with more. Take care, everybody.